Yeah. Let me drop exclusive game from my exclusive mind. You be out here chasing fame, I stay steady on my grind. Zero diamonds, zero.
Thank you for tapping into the Exclusive Minds podcast. Today we're going to be having an exclusive conversation with exclusive content from Exclusive Minds. I'm your host, Rook, and
Joe?
let's get right into it.
39. I didn't ask this time either.
You didn't.
I
You
just
came
guessed,
prepared.
Went right for it.
I'm actually really happy for you.
Plus, on top of that, it's a week later, so we're back on.
Weekly.
Yeah, we'll see how long that lasts. But
Yeah, I was meaning to get in touch with you yesterday, but then the day flew by the time I was like, all right, I should probably text him. But
yeah, weekends, you want to go out and do your thing. It's cool.
Exactly. Well, how have you been?
Good. No complaints.
Good. Likewise.
I haven't been traveling this week or last week and this week, so I'm home, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, that is good. I had another wedding over the weekend. It seems to be like a weekly occurrence at this point, but I think that's the last one for September, I would say, maybe. So we'll see. But yeah, it was cool. It was good.
So it's wedding seasons.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's the perfect time for it because, it's kind of in between. Like, you could wear long sleeves, you could wear short sleeves. I mean, it's getting to like a good point right now. The week before though, that one was kind of brutal. It was like hot, and I was like, oh god.
Yeah, you get into those months where it's you just don't know.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. Did you want to start us off, or do you want me to go ahead?
No, I just one thing that I thought was kind of interesting is I signed up to be an Uber driver.
No, you didn't.
I did.
Why did you do that?
So, I mean, obviously there's a reason for it, right?
Yeah.
So, I'm looking to replace the Chevy Bolt, and GM was offering a $2,000 discount if you were an Uber driver. So I'm online and I'm like,
God.
I'm looking and people are like, yeah, you basically just sign up. You don't ever have to give a ride. They just want to see that you have an active account, a driver account.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, well, what's the process, right? And it's literally it's like getting a bank account, right? They do a background check and shit like that. And, I mean, it literally took, I think, like a day.
Bro, that was like
now I have the app, so I mean I'll never use it, but I mean I guess I am officially potentially an Uber driver.
that was the most like the farthest thing I thought you were gonna say that was gonna come up. I mean, so did you get the discount or?
So I haven't gotten the car yet because it's back ordered, and I don't know if I don't know how long it's going to be.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
You can't get cars these days; it's just ridiculous.
So if you happen to be in the Chester, Delaware County area, maybe Joe will be
Maybe I'll be picking you up in your my Chevy Bolt,
shuttling
my
you
electric
around.
car. Yeah, it's weird. So it's kind of neat because you get to see some of the behind the scenes stuff that as a driver you would never even know about. Mm-hmm. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, that's kind of neat. Like they'll give you like bonuses for certain times of the day, which makes sense, right? They want to
Incentivize you to
they want to load up on the peak hours. And man, what's really funny is you'd probably make more money on the rides taking people on Uber rides around here than you would like going downtown or in the airport.
Yeah, that's
the problem, I guess, is the volume, right? You just, you wouldn't be banging away every minute of the day. But I'm looking and there's like, you get like $7, $8, $9 bonuses on top of the actual trip for like taking people like, Downingtown and Coatesville and stuff like that. And I'm like, whoa, that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think there is definitely truth behind that because when we went to San Juan over the summer, we took a Uber from the airport to our place and then from our place to Old San Juan, like throughout the trip. And, it's like 15, 20 minutes, but the trips are only like $7. Like you only have to pay $7, which is not bad at all. So, yeah, I guess on the back end, they're incentivizing you, hey, if you take these shorter distance trips or if there's like a high volume, maybe they'll just be like, hey, we'll give you a couple extra dollars to do that. And for the driver, it's worth it. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's all data economics, man. They have it all wired in. So they tell you like, when is the peak hours and when's your best opportunity to make money and where's the best locations for pickups. I mean, it's amazing, like the level of detail that they can provide you. And I guess, I mean, obviously I haven't done it, but I'm assuming that there's a pecking order too. So like if me as a zero ride driver went down to the airport, I'm not sure how long it would take me to. I don't know if that's true or not. Like I would assume there's some sort of pecking order, but maybe there isn't. And it doesn't really say, right? But I'm like, if I go to the airport, I could wait 8 hours while all these other guys who have more experience get it. Plus, on top of that, I'd love to see the person's expression on their face when they like get me as a driver with zero rides.
Now that I'm thinking about it, for some reason, every single Uber experience that I've literally encountered, it's never been like a newer driver. At
no, it's always thousands of rides.
Thousands of rides.
I'm with you. And
I mean, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe for like more seasoned riders, they're like, all right, we'll sprinkle. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, I wonder what that is. Like, I mean, but to go back to your point, we also have seen that with like, you would know, like, of all things, like with like flying, like as far as the economics or the logistics behind that, you could see that, like, for example, if you depart on like a Thursday or something, you know what I mean?
They're trying to balance the loads.
Exactly. There's like a cheaper flight
and
time.
setting people to balance the loads.
And more recently, I figured out, or I heard, I don't know if this is fact or not, but it was, if you are not on like a VPN and you just kind of constantly check on the flights, they'll like they'll kind of like bump them up slowly over time. But if you like have a VPN and you like logged in from like a different country or a different place and you booked
it's a different price.
It's a different price. Yeah. So like if you're like, let's say in, I don't know, Mexico or Canada, and you're booking a flight out of Philadelphia, that price might be cheaper than if you were in Philadelphia booking it from Philadelphia to X place, which is, I never knew that. I don't know if that's true or not, but
I believe it.
That's an interesting.
I'm not sure. Well, it really does kind of show how much like the world we live in is just driven on analytics,
supply and demand too.
I mean, it is just pure analytics. Everything we do is logged and tracked by everything, right? It's not just. I mean, we all know Google and Amazon with the ads, but you start looking at Uber and all this other stuff, and it's like, man, we as a consumer are tracked on everything, and then there's metrics and there's analytics that are done against it to just kind of dial it in to get as much of your coin as possible.
This started with Instagram. We talk about this, but it started with Instagram. Like, you're having a conversation about detergent, and then all of a sudden, detergent's an Instagram ad.
Yeah.
But then here comes TikTok, kind of coming, the new kid on the block that's so specific to everything that you do, whether it be comment, liking, the pages that you visit. Like, I feel like during my time on TikTok, it's like I only look at like the gaming stuff predominantly, but when I was playing like Call of Duty, for example, Call of Duty stuff would come up, and then they would splash in the occasional like Apex thing or whatever. But then the more I got into Apex, I would open that page up, and now all my feed's just Apex stuff. So it's like, bro, they're like, it's just like a virus kind of surging through your timeline.
They're
I'm like
dialing in your. Cause, I've heard. I don't. That's the one social media platform that I just refuse to.
Don't get it. Do not get it.
Yeah,
for the love of God, do not
don't.
get it.
But I've heard the stories that their algorithm is just
it's unmatched,
off the charts.
It's craziness. I think it was. I don't know who it was, but they actually like went through, read all the stuff behind like what they look at. They look at your like your haptic patterns of what you're typing in other apps and all that type of jazz. So whatever they're doing, it's working for them. And like you said, I think a couple episodes back, it's like you go to the one that it's overseas in China where their platform's completely different.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Their feed is, that's a whole different thing.
But I don't know. Someone was telling me that they're trying to become more a multi-platform besides just like 5-second videos. They're trying to like actually, like, I know they're already doing some live streaming stuff, but they're trying to be like incorporating that to a whole new level, get like 10-minute videos in. Like, I heard they're trying to like overhaul some stuff, and I don't know how that would necessarily work with their current algorithm, but I heard through a friend that that's what they're trying to do. Now,
makes
again,
sense. I mean,
I don't know how true that is, but
how else are they going to kind of grow as
a platform, right? Yeah,
right. I mean, and, basically they're going to go after the Facebook and Instagram stuff, right? That's
I don't know how Facebook's still around, to be honest, but
old people like me, right? Because seriously, it's the platform I live and die on. Facebook.
Really? That's your thing? That's your jam?
Yeah, and I'm assuming it's just generational, right? So this is I don't use TikTok at all.
Yeah.
I very rarely use Instagram, but I use Facebook religiously. So it's probably just a generational thing.
Yeah, sure. I do. I was on my way over here, and I was thinking of like one thing that's been kind of bothering me lately. And now that we're on the topic of social medias, it's like it's LinkedIn. I feel like LinkedIn's cap. Like I find myself like on LinkedIn messaging my friends that I would like if they post like, oh, I just got a new job or whatever. I'm messaging them like, oh, congratulations on your new job. Like, you're like, how would I word it? Like, I know you and you're going to embark on this new journey and you're going to have a great time. I'm like, I would never say that to this person. Like, you have to kind of say it in like a way where
you're using the pre-formatted template.
Yes, you have to, you know what I mean? Like, people are on there trying to be like, I guess as corporate as possible because that's the audience.
That's the social media for corporate America.
It's
right?
like I find myself talking to my friend of 8+ years, like, bro, I would never say this to you. Be like, yo, congratulations, man. Like, let's go out, celebrate some way. But instead, you have to kind of
but I mean, the whole premise of that is to obviously stay in touch with acquaintances, right? People that you don't know, and you know.
Right. That not someone that's your friend, but just coworkers rather. But yeah.
But yeah, I use LinkedIn all the time. I mean, as you kind of just obviously move into the business world, you'll use that a lot more than you think.
Yeah, LinkedIn's a big thing. I mean, they even made us download that in like our first year of college. I'm pretty sure they were just like, this is going to be huge, whatever. Kind of going over some of the stuff that happened. I woke up this morning and I went on Twitter as like one of the first things that I do, and hashtag crypto crash was trending. Are you familiar with like what was going on?
What do you mean crash? I mean, it's already kind of.
So I looked at it and
I mean, it hasn't really crashed. It's actually been kind of stable for the last.
No, well, today Bitcoin falls below 6% to 19,000 or 18.8
I mean, it's kind of on the
thousand.
lower, but it's really been trading anywhere between about 19 and 21K for seems like months.
And then Ethereum sunk to 1,300, which I mean, which is kind of normal.
It's 1350 today, right?
Something like that, yeah. And Ethereum, they actually just had that merge a couple days ago, if you saw, with before it was a proof of work, which is like mining. Like it's a proof of like, all right, you could use your GPU graphics cards to generate money. And then now it's a proof of stake, so you have to actually stake your position, which is just essentially paying for your position within Ethereum's network. Then you could, I guess, collect the dividends based off of your position. And then my buddy who I was on the phone with when I came in here, his name's Ryan. Shout out to Ryan. He's one of those miners. He like bought like 4 graphics cards, and he showed me his behind the scenes of what goes into crypto mining and everything. But he said pre merge, he was averaging from 4 graphics cards $35 a day, which isn't bad, all things considered. Like, it was like anywhere between like $15 and $35, he said. But now he showed me his analytics, and this is how much he's getting per day. Go ahead and read that out loud.
61 cents. So you went from $35 a day to 61 cents a day?
61 cents a day for 4 rigs of
so
what he was having.
There's no ROI in the world that's ever going to justify that, right? I mean, those cards are...
So the reason that we got in touch today is because he was trying to sell me his graphics cards or asking if I knew anyone that had...
Yeah, I bet. I mean...
He's trying to get rid of them. But he said he made his money back. I know that there was, before the merge, there was a high demand for graphics cards in the mining world. I know they were making a lot of money off of that. Like, there was like people that would buy like places in colder climates just to house all of their rigs and everything like that, and they would be making a killing. But I don't think that's necessarily the case now. I mean, there could be some truth or some false information behind what I'm saying, but for the most part, from his personal experience, the only way he's getting his money back from this point is just selling his equipment. You know what I mean? Like, imagine making 61 cents a day off of
it's
4
probably not
graphics
even
cards.
worth turning on the power. I mean, you're going to end up spending more on electricity than you're going to get back.
Exactly. So that's just like kind of showing the state of mining, I guess, is concerned. I mean,
so he was mining Bitcoin,
Ethereum.
Yeah,
and yeah, bro. I mean,
so have the returns on Bitcoin changed, or can he? Because those guys can just basically flip to a different currency, right?
So I was talking to him about that, and I was asking him. I think the example I used for him, I was like, well, why don't you like switch to another thing? And I was like, can't you like jokingly, I said, can't you like mine like Dogecoin or something like that? And he's like, it's just such like a low, such like a low yield, I guess, that it's not even worth for him to do it or something like that. Or he just says that there's an ability on the back end for him to pick, like, it could pick the highest return for the day, and he could just go off of that. So like, even if
everybody else is chasing the exact same thing,
right?
It just...
So you're kind of pooled all together. It's like a giant pool of people trying to, I guess, do the same thing. So I don't necessarily know that mining's worth it nowadays, but if someone who does know has any comments on that, please reach out.
That's
to
kind
us.
of interesting because I mean I've sold some equipment to big.
Yeah, I remember miners.
Yeah, and they're all pretty much almost out of business at this point. And they had a cost model that was supposed to be structured that even if it went down to like $2,000, that they would still be able to make money. And I'm sure they could, but again, as those returns dwindle, you start to ask yourself, why the hell am I really doing this to scratch chicken change? And I remember their beef was the whole on demand or the whatever you mentioned the buying for or getting paid for proof of service or proof of work.
Yeah.
And they were all avoiding Ethereum because they didn't like the way it worked. And it sounds like that might have just compounded itself.
Yeah, and it's different. Like I said, this guy, he only has 4, which, for like the average person,
I haven't even looked.
4 is a lot. But
I mean, other than Bitcoin and Ethereum, I haven't even given a minute's thought to some of the shit coins.
So I have some of them up. I mean, just based off
what's
the
the
screenshot.
Decentraland? Because I remember that was
Yeah. So I have a couple up here. I don't have Decentraland if you want to grab that one. But Cardano's at 0.44. Solana's at $31. Solana was at one point almost maybe over $200. So the fact that they're at $31 is crazy. Dogecoin 5 cents. Shiba Inu is 0.00001080 at the time of the screenshot.
Decentraland's 72 cents.
72 cents, and that was at well over $3, right?
Yeah.
Close to 5 at one point.
I'm trying to remember.
Something
I bought in at $3.30 when we were doing that test thing.
Yeah.
And I remember it tanked to $1.50, and I was like, "Man, this is crazy." And now it's down even another.
Yeah.
So in a period of a year, it's dropped. Dropped what? Almost.
But there's
70% of its value.
Yeah, I mean, and now the fact that I know a little bit more
Can't even
about
get charts on this shit. I guess I'd have to go to Coinbase to.
Yeah, but now that I'm learning more about the stock market and whatnot, I would imagine the thing to do now is to short some of the coins, right? Could you short your position in some of the stuff?
I don't know if there's. I don't know if that mechanism's available. I mean, I agree.
I would imagine so. There has to be a way to short it.
I don't know if there is. I mean, who knows? It's the wild west, I would think. But I mean, usually they base that on liquidity and stuff, and you can't short a stock that doesn't have any volume. There's different.
But they're moving volume, Bitcoin and whatnot, aren't they?
Well, I mean, Bitcoin and Ethereum very well could have the shorting thing. I'm talking about all these crap coins.
No,
I'm looking through this list, and it has the 1 week change and the 1 year change. The 1 year change across the board is just ugly.
Yeah, I would imagine.
And I'm talking coins that most people have probably never heard of, but they're down 76%, 83%, 90%. There's one that's Decentraland's only down 14% year to date.
Oh, I mean, that's not terrible.
But I mean,
that's not terrible.
Look, I mean, there are. I mean, almost every one of them is down 70+%.
Dude, and it's funny though because dealing with so in crypto, if something's down 14% yearly, you're like, oh, that's not that bad.
Yeah.
But if you were in a traditional stock and someone was like, hey, by the way, your S&P or whatever it is.
I looked at my 401k actually this morning. I was just kind of doing some stuff.
Okay.
And over the last year, so this is just looking back a full year, my 401k is down 16%.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, and that's never happened before, right? 16, that's pretty
I mean,
high,
happens,
right?
But,
okay.
Yeah,
But in traditional stocks, what I'm saying is you hear the numbers like that, 14% not being terrible. You compare that to traditional, you're like, Jesus, that's a lot. You don't really hear imagine if they were saying, hey, your 401k is down 70%,
oh yeah, you'd lose your shit.
Exactly.
I mean,
so
you'd be
know.
what the
Exactly. So.
Well, you know what? It's down 16% now, and the economy looks like it's going to get a whole hell of a lot worse. So,
it very much could.
Yeah, there's no guarantees that it's not going to continue to just keep tanking.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I was thinking about the other day too? I was like, why? Everyone should just be investing into these electric car companies because
That's where all the money's going. Yeah.
That's where they should go, because the California thing we talked about with the 2035.
Well, I mean, when when Obama did it with Solyndra and all those other ones, there was a lot of money that chased it, and it all,
it dwindled out.
It all went bankrupt. So you never know. I mean,
yeah, I wasn't.
Investing
during those times.
Clearly, electric vehicles are here to stay, right? I mean, you don't get the kind of commitment that General Motors is making to it. You don't get the commitment that Ford's making to it, and it not have some merit.
Well, yeah,
right?
everyone's doing that now.
Yeah, I mean, and there's all different. I mean, that's kind of the cool thing about supply chain is there's so many ways to tackle that. Like, all right, you don't want to invest in General Motors because you just don't believe in the product, but maybe you want to invest in lithium miners, right? There's all these ways to get involved in these kinds of things. I mean, that's the cool thing about just understanding supply chain. And then, that's what the Wall Street guys do, right? They'll be like, yeah, we'll have a mutual fund that tracks electric vehicles, and it's not just the manufacturers; it'll be all the upstream or downstream suppliers that go into like building the batteries and all that other crap.
No, for sure.
But yeah, I mean, that's, I don't think there's any doubt that, short term, that's where the money's going to be flowing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Real quick, do you still, this is kind of going back a topic or two, but are you still holding on to your NVIDIA stock?
Yes.
Good. I think they're coming out with the 40 series here soon. So,
and it hasn't been doing well, but I'm still up a ton. But I mean,
you got it.
It was,
but hopefully soon with the 40 series coming out,
it was trading in the 180 to 200 range, and I think it's down to like 130. So it hasn't been performing well.
I think it'll go up with the 40 series coming out here soon.
40 series graphic card.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
What was I?
Yeah, I mean, NVIDIA is getting hit on the Bitcoin thing too, right? I mean, that was a big source of revenue, and I think when they talk about their annual, report, they mention, hey, we're not selling as many video cards as we used to.
Yeah, for sure.
Gamers only buy so much, right? And they certainly weren't buying at the levels that these Bitcoin miners were buying.
Well, yeah, now that these miners are going to be out of business here soon, so we'll see. I had a question, and it came from, I guess, the point of my life that I'm in, and I guess you could attest to this time, but it was the 22 to 24-year-old range. And I say this because it's kind of like a weird place, because you're getting out of college, you're finding careers, pathways, but at one hand, you'll have your friends getting married, they're having kids, starting a family. Then on the other hand, you have friends that are still going out, partying every single weekend, and kind of lost in translation. You know what I mean? So it's just like right now, I feel like is a very, very strange point in my. I mean, and even if you didn't go to college, you still kind of maybe you still find yourself in that same.
No, what you're describing is just life, and I lived it. I mean,
and what was that? Did you have any experience
so I mean, I got obviously married very late in life, right? So I was the single guy who spent money on myself and was. I mean, kind of looking back in retrospect, I was very self-centered, right? It was all about, me, and.
But sometimes that's good though, because you get to focus on yourself and understand and develop, right?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed my life. I'm not complaining about it, but I have good friends who got married and had, started having kids, and here I am driving around in a Corvette and flashy shit and wearing Hugo Boss suits and crap like that, and I'm, it wasn't rubbing it in anybody's nose, but I mean, I didn't have
the expenses.
I didn't have the expenses, and I just had a different, mission in life, so to say, at the time, right? And it took me longer to kind of get there, right?
No, yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't know. I just kind of been reflecting, and I don't think social media has really been helping with that, but when you have these things, you kind of feel like you have to compare yourself. Not feel like you have to, but it kind of puts you in perspective. Like, am I doing something wrong? Am I doing something right? And it kind of has these thoughts. And I feel like I'm very complacent where I'm at right now in life. But it's just very weird to see the complete two different things. And that's why I said the 22 to 24 year age bracket.
It's kind of a weird dynamic, because I mean you kind of have your high school buddies, you kind of have your college buddies, and sometimes they're not the same.
And your work friends.
But they could be, right? And then Then you move into the working world and you get kind of a new set of buddies that you're around constantly, and the other ones sort of fade away. And it's just, I mean, it's unfortunate, but in a lot of cases, that's what happens.
That's life.
Right. And then you get married and you have kids. And I'll tell you, as soon as you have kids, your friends become your kids' parents, or friends' parents. And, it's a whole different clique. And then, once they kind of move on and they get to the teens and stuff like that, where it starts to get catty, and then all of a sudden, your friendships could unravel because your kids hate each other all of a sudden.
Oh, jeez.
It is. I mean, it's just life. I mean, there's so many dynamics. There's so much that goes on. There's just not a secret recipe to what you need to do to kind of make it work. It just, you never know what the hell's going to happen.
No, for sure. I mean, that's just all. I've been kind of thinking about that. Then I've been doing a lot of thinking.
You could be like me and just hate everybody. I mean, I hate everybody.
I don't want to hate everybody.
I hate everybody.
I don't hate everybody.
I just want to live by myself on a farm. And give me about 80 acres. I don't know, 80 acres in the middle of Idaho, and don't ever come visit me. So,
Idaho.
I don't
you
know.
want to be in
Idaho, Montana, Utah. I don't give a crap. Just someplace where it's off the beaten path.
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't have to listen to TikTok or any of this BS.
Yeah, well, that also kind of stemmed off
Martha's Vineyard.
Yeah, that kind of stemmed off the other side conversation of what we always say
Martha's
of
Vineyard?
No. Living in
Not
the good
going
old
there?
days. Like,
Come
what's
on.
the old days?
You're not going there?
Like, what is the old days? Because when I think about it, and when I was thinking about the previous thing was, like you said, you kind of just, you don't establish the last time talking to a certain friend group. Like, for example, I had a bunch of kids in my development who were, still cool to this day, like if we seen each other out or whatever. But there was a last day of unspoken that we just stopped hanging out. That just was like, oh shit, this is weird. Like, what the hell happened here? So I don't know. That's kind of what started the whole conversation and unraveling of everything.
Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, I think relationships and acquaintances are kind of built around at the moment in time, and
kind of like music.
Time changes everything, right? So as soon as you go away to college, or you get into a different clique, and you're just not around those people.
Yeah.
Some of those will fade slower than others, but generally speaking, out of sight, out of mind, right? And then the next thing you know, you are a passing acquaintance versus something that's a little bit more legit.
Nah, for sure. Yeah, I get that.
But you'll find that life's going to be all about interesting dynamics and conflicts and. Well, hell,
Yeah, no, I got it. Listen, though, when I went to that wedding, this is a complete 180, so any closing thoughts on that?
No, okay. There's a lot of that conversation can get a lot of people in trouble, so.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. When I went to the wedding over the weekend, we are officially now known as just the hoodie brand, because everyone that came up to me,
I knew it.
They said, they're like, yo, man, we love your hoodies and everything like that. Like, when's the hoodies coming out? That's word, verbatim. I'm not saying this just to up it on the podcast. This is exactly so I went to shout out to Natalie and Mason. Congratulations on getting married. Beautiful wedding. There was goats there. It was a whole country type themed. It was crazy. I don't know how goats makes it country, but there was goats and chickens.
What?
Yeah. So they were on the dance floor, and Natalie's mom came over and she was like, I love your your hoodie design and the breast cancer one and everything like that. And I'm like, oh, thank you. I really appreciate it. Obviously took the compliment. But then I got to thinking, and I was like, man, me and Joe joke about this, but people actually look at this probably that's all we fucking do is just hoodies.
I mean, it's not a bad thing.
No, I don't think so either.
It's our go-to. It has been for
the bread and butter, right?
As long as I've been with it. So I mean, it's been the go-to.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not mad.
But it is funny, right? I'm like, damn, that's why we have all these excess T-shirts that you guys haven't been buying. Come on, man, buy the damn freaking. We got a whole bunch of T-shirts.
We haven't done a call to action.
Make T-shirts.
Where's the call to action at, man?
Buy some T-shirts.
Okay, that's the call to action.
Go on the website and look. We got some old T-shirts that are on sale. Pick one up. You'll love them. The designs on those rock.
Yeah. Speaking of rock, Rockstar Games, GTA.
Yeah.
GTA got released the past couple days. Oh my God, that was a good transition, man. You didn't give me enough credit for that. Okay. I'm not a
GTA guy. So.
Okay. Well, GTA has been a long anticipated game. They came out in GTA 5 came out 2013. And for the people who aren't gamers or don't know, GTA is a huge franchise within gaming. The biggest franchise. I think it's sold the most copies or the most generated revenue from any gaming franchise ever. It's humongous. And the last game came out in 2013. It's been around for many console generations, PC iterations, everything. And just recently, supposedly a former Rockstar employee got fired or left under bad terms and leaked a bunch of video of the new GTA, and he had a copy. But Rockstar sent out a message that basically solidified, because people were like, is this true? Is this not true? Because there was gameplay
coming out. Okay.
Yeah, but they basically said it was a message from Rockstar Games. We recently surfaced network intrusion in which an unauthorized third party illegally accessed and downloaded confidential information from our systems, including early development footage of the next Grand Theft Auto. At this time, we do not anticipate any disruption to our live gaming service nor any long-term effects of the development of our ongoing projects. But that was the first paragraph of the two. But it just basically was confirming that this was like the first look at that. Huge news for gaming in general, but I thought I would just share that because...
I mean, is it huge, Dennis, though?
Oh, my God,
haven't
dude.
people moved on from it? I mean, it's been, like you said, it's 2013.
Was the last iteration, yes.
So, like, you're talking, like...
Brother, I'm telling you, because of, like, the RP iteration, which is like a
So you're saying there's
mod.
some pent-up demand for it to come back and launch big?
This is going to be the biggest game of, like... I don't know what year it's coming out, but mark my words, I promise you, if I'm wrong here, we'll have to have some sort of challenge.
So is it centered around a specific city? I know, don't they usually pick cities like Vegas and
Miami and Miami and
didn't they already do Miami?
Yeah, they did. Vice City, but they did. It's Miami and like some sort of like LA variation or something. I don't know.
East Coast, West Coast, perpetuating the.
Yeah, breaking the barrier there. I don't know, but I'm like super excited for it. I don't know. I'm a big gamer still to this day. So
no, I get it. I just yeah, you know me. I'm so freaking.
You're not thrilled. You're not over the moon because of this.
No, I'm not. Well, I never.
No, I get it.
GTA was kind of not in my window of time when I was playing video games. Well, Warcraft, right? I was wrapped around the actual Warcraft, so that's all I had time for. Right now, it's Elden Ring, so I don't, unless there's like some mega game that's coming out that really piques my interest, because I look and I'm like,
yeah.
Like Ashfall's coming out, which looks kind of interesting. There's a couple things that are coming out, but they all look the same now. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, and speaking of all being the same, like with the MW2 that's coming out, they just had the PlayStation beta this weekend, but it's weird to think that they're still doing those exclusives, like to kind of sway people one way or the other. Xbox recently acquired, or Microsoft recently acquired the Call of Duty franchise, but it was PlayStation for a long time. This was like the last year, one of the final deals with them. But it's just weird to see that you have to like they're trying to like tie you down to a specific family of things, but also having that cross-play compatibility. It's like, I get it. You want people to be on PlayStation. They get it like a week early, but it's just kind of I don't know. It's just blurred lines. I feel like it's I don't know, unorthodox, out of the wheelhouse. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess in some of the competitive formats, right, having that week head start is enough to get people motivated. But I don't know. I mean,
yeah, who knows, man? Who knows? Yeah, I don't know. I think that was really all my notes. All my notes about the like headlines for this week. I don't think we had last week a album that we had to review or anything like that, did we?
No, I don't think we picked one. So.
Let's see here.
One of those long pauses.
Yeah, you're gonna have to cut.
Trouble. I don't cut anything. I leave.
You don't cut it. You do leave it in.
I do all the time. I don't think I've ever cut one of the. I don't think I've cut once on any of the episodes. So if even when I like had the thing screw up and mid thing, I just picked it, recorded, and hit the record and put it right back in. So did you watch Did you watch the Canelo fight?
No, I didn't. I
have to give props because I think in the past I've said that I thought he was over, and clearly he's not. So,
but that was another thing where it wasn't like, isn't Triple G like supposedly like really like out? Like he's a great fighter, but he's older, older, isn't he?
Old. They're both in their 30s now, right? So I mean, they're getting.
I don't know. I heard Triple G was just like hasn't fought in like the past year, where this is Canelo's like second or third bout of the year. And
well, he just got beat, right? So
yeah, he did just get beat.
Yeah, so I mean, Canelo's probably been fighting more. I mean, he had that. I think he had like a $400 million contract for like X number of fights. So he's probably ever since I guess he left. What's the other boxer who was doing the promotions that he's always getting into Twitter fights with?
I don't know.
I can't think of the guy's name.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, we probably sound like a broken record, but I think boxing's just slowly on. It's not. I guess it's not really slowly, but it's more so on the decline. Where UFC is more on the incline, just due to how active they are. But whenever you get those boxing
I
events,
think it's still, regardless of what you think, it centers around the heavyweight division.
Absolutely.
So as the heavyweight division is active and cranking out fights, there's a lot more attention to it, and that's coming, I guess. But
yeah, and I guess the argument could be made that since there isn't as many fights, that's what builds the most hype. But at the same time, like, is it blowing the UFC numbers out of the water completely on every single, the boxing things? That's
I get the impression that boxing is still the bigger draw. I mean, I think that like Canelo got paid like, I don't know, man, it was like $40 million for this fight. I mean, that's a lot of money. So I mean, there's a lot of bank that I guess occurs in boxing that I don't know if UFC matches.
Yeah, that argument could be.
Or I guess the premise is that UFC's keeping it, right? And that's the thing that is the age-old bitch, is they don't pay the fighters fairly, where I guess in boxing it's you really are your own company. So
there's the kink in the armor on both sides, and it's one of those debates where it's like the consoles, PlayStation versus Xbox. You're going to go debate it all day long. There's no one's going to say, "Oh, this is finally," until one of the companies or one of the people, one of the sides goes bankrupt, which UFC's entire business, so that has more likely, like you said, the fighters are the business in the boxing. I mean, it's just going to be, the two are just going to be parallel the whole time until one eventually stops selling as much as they once were, or eyes stop going to it. But I don't know. I mean, besides that though, what actually looks like it's making a bigger comeback, and I don't know if this has any influence to Logan Paul, but the WWE's making, like, I feel like a second wind or coming back around.
They just announced that he's going to be mainlining a Saudi Arabia event.
With Roman Reigns.
Yeah. So he isn't really too long into it, and he's already fighting the top guy. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, and I saw the press conference and I saw the podcast with Roman Reigns and he's like the top guy right now. Like, he's filling John Cena's kind of shoes, if you would, like him and Brock Lesnar. But moral of the story, they were open to him coming. They're like, hey, this guy has like 30 million followers across all his platforms. If he's coming in, that's just more money in my pocket at the end of the day. So they're open to it. I mean, for the people that are not in Roman Reigns or Brock Lesnar's shoes, that are known but not as known, that kind of has to almost feel like a punch to the stomach, because it's like, we've been doing this for so long, and we've been actually like in the organization for so long, but a guy, just because he has clout or fame, he's getting boost. But I mean, life's not fair. You know what I mean?
I mean, you mean as a wrestler, right, you got to know that has huge merit, right?
Yeah.
Eyeballs, right? And I think even in that interview, right, I think Roman Reigns talked about how it's all about that. It's like building up the number of eyeballs and just getting that attention and hook with the fans. That's the most important thing, right? More so a lot of times than even the performance.
I mean, I think everyone in the planet knows at this point that wrestling fans, or that demographic, the fan, is like some of the like most hardcore. Like, they'll ride through. Like, they don't even care that it's like allegedly, or I guess it's not allegedly, but like fake or staged or anything, because they just love it for the storyline.
Yeah.
Love it for the performance.
It's like a soap opera.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They love it for that. So, I mean, shout out to everyone that's in it, because that's a huge draw, a huge draw. I don't know. I feel like everyone's had like a wrestling stage throughout their lives. You know what I mean? Like, everyone's kind of liked it a little bit.
I think I was fortunate that I kind of got to live the probably the like best period
the WWF.
The WWF, and then the WCW with Turner, and that was the Monday Night Raw Wars and stuff like that. That was, I still think, without a doubt, the best period of wrestling, with like Degeneration X, and just that was with Triple H and all those when he was at his peak. And,
is he still in it, Triple H?
Or did he take a step back? He obviously married into the McMahons, right? So he is, what the hell is he? He's done, I think, because he had a heart attack or some shit.
Damn.
So I think he's done wrestling, but he is the VP of talent or something like that. So he books, and I think he's on the creative side.
Yeah, that's always
so
cool.
he is very, very involved.
Yeah, that's cool to see. I mean, that's kind of like the same thing that football does with like their play. Like they sign retired players like Tony Romo or whoever to like kind of commentate or cast or whatever they do. So I guess it's kind of cool to see.
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
keeping the talent within the people that actually know what they're talking about. Yeah, I'm trying to think during my time, who did I watch? Like when I started watching, it was like when Roman Reigns was on Shield, if you remember that.
Yeah.
And like Ryback was like a predominant character in it. CM Punk. Oh my God. What was he? I hear voices. Oh my God. What's his name? Oh my God, bro. I'm going to get murdered if I don't know his name, bro.
I hear voices.
I hear voices in my head. They talk to me. I don't know his name.
You're talking. Oh God, I know who you're talking about. Yeah, yeah,
dude.
I know.
What's his goddamn name? All right, I have to look it up. But that was who I was watching. That's like that was like the heyday when I was watching. Hold on.
Man, there is so much crap going on, like on the political side, that we should be talking about. That just like,
Dude.
I'm not even sure I want to get into it, but it's just like, man, some of the topics on the political side are just so freaking crazy. I mean, crazy.
Do you have anything you want to talk about?
Well, so I mean,
because you're going to be speaking a language that I am unfamiliar with, but I'll try to give my opinion.
I know, and I'm, and it's like one of those things. It's a tail end of the podcast, so maybe people
Randy
won't
Orton.
even hear it. But
Randy Orton was his name.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
that's not who I was thinking, but okay, yeah, Randy Orton. Yeah, they're all still around, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
but what were you about to say? Sorry.
There's this company. There's this company Trulio. They're like a Bay Area marketing firm, and they're laying off. They're laying off like, I don't know, 15% of their company. And the CEO puts out this statement saying that they're doing it with consideration to racial diversification. So they're like,
okay,
we're firing people based on racial diversification. I'm like, what?
They're firing people based off of racial diversification.
I wish I could find it. I shouldn't shoot my mouth off.
You're good. You're good.
I mean, and I'm like,
when I hear that they're firing people to meet a quota, or
it's like an internal number. Like,
okay, I mean that doesn't.
It's not
fair.
based on merit. It is based on your socioeconomic.
Yeah. Okay.
That
doesn't make sense.
But I mean, it's a public statement, and I'm like, what the hell is wrong with this world?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like.
I mean,
then in agreement.
Hello.
I mean,
does anybody understand merit?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know the story at all. I mean, obviously, you have to tell me more about it. But just based off of that one segment, I guess you could say, I feel like I'm in the majority by saying if someone deserves to be in that role, they should stay in that role, you know?
Well, yeah.
So I don't think anyone should be getting laid off for external forces besides like if they're a terrible person going on Twitter and saying kill yourself or something to some random people, then yeah, I mean, obviously there should be some protocol and action for that. But yeah, if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing for the most part, I mean, not to sound like, what do they call it? Like a blue pill or red pill person here. But if you're, within a corporation and you're doing what your job is, you shouldn't be laid off for another reason besides,
I mean, it was just kind of weird. Like,
but yeah, I don't know.
I don't know what was behind it, but it was just like, man.
Yeah, no, for sure. Real quick, I guess while you're looking that up, I saw a segment, someone actually, I know we, have been talking about him quite frequently, or haven't really been talking about him. They sat down with Andrew Tate post-ban to kind of talk more about what he was banned for and everything like that. And I find it interesting because there's more people okay. So, for example, Joe Rogan was on his side with like, yeah, I think he was wrongly banned. And it's more people where they have a support system outside of, all right, if we get banned, we're going to get shocked completely. Like our revenue is going to be completely frozen, everything like that.
Yeah.
And he called out like the Paul brothers, and he said they're just a mouthpiece for YouTube because if they
I did listen to one of the interviews, and yeah, there is some merit to that.
No, because listen though, because if these influencers don't speak up against what he's saying,
Right.
or speak up against what he's saying or whatever, there's going to be backlash. I mean, we saw this with this gaming organization by the name of G2. Basically, all that happened from what I've seen from an outsider was the CEO of G2 was hanging out with Andrew Tate, and he had to issue an entire apology on the company's behalf because it was like
that's cancel culture run amok.
Right, but it's the people that have like a sustainable business outside of YouTube or these social medias that are siding with him. And that's not to say I'm siding with or against him. Take everything people say with a grain of salt and stuff like that. But there was one point during the interview that I did because I'm not.
I found it.
Okay. But what I was watching it more so just to kind of see what the process is like after being banned off of everything. And he was saying he was banned, like, as fast as he could read his email, banned stuff came in. He was banned off of Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, everything.
Oh, they all ripple effect. Yeah.
But it was interesting because his banks started closing him down. Like, they started shutting him down, and his Uber account, like, why is Uber banning someone?
Because all those companies, they're all out to lunch with each other.
Right. But I just found it really fascinating. And one of the talk points, I mean, I don't want to get us canceled here or anything like that.
That's going to happen.
But listen, because you don't know about what the what's it called? The closed captioning or whatever. But there was a point where he talked about the vaccine. And it was very interesting because he talked about how there's people with like cancer or like leukemia or whatever, and they get stuck with like a medical bill, or they get stuck with something where you have to pay into it, or no matter how sick you are. But as soon as like the whole 19 stuff came around, you just kind of got like, they kept encouraging you to get these booster shots for free. There was no charge behind what they had. So it was kind of like, it made you think for a second, and it made me definitely think for a second. Because why wasn't there anything behind that? You know what I mean? Like, you didn't even have to have insurance to get the thing. You know what I'm trying to say here?
Well, I mean, there's a charge, right? I mean, the government paid it.
Right. But why wouldn't there? But there's other stuff that you could make the same argument for, though, right? Like,
sure, yeah,
you know
absolutely.
what I mean?
But I mean, it was top of mind, and it's a control thing, right? I mean, you can get deep into the woods.
That's what I was saying
when you talk about COVID. I mean, that's just the way it is.
And I'm never someone that's like that. But I just thought.
I mean, the scary thing is, I mean, from my perspective, is there are a lot of people who got banned or shut down or crushed because of things they said that turned out to be 100% freaking true.
But that was also, I think, wasn't it Biden who put out something that said if anyone talks out against what's going on, that they would be banned or they would be...
Yeah, well, I don't know if he did, but it wouldn't surprise me. I mean,
think there was something that was like
they
that.
were trying to put together a fake news board or something inside the Justice Department, just so they could basically control the optics.
Yeah, and like I said, I never get into that type of thing, but that really kind of fascinated me to hear.
So I'm assuming that I haven't listened to anything from Andrew Tate, but I'm assuming he went over to Rumble, and I'm guessing he blew up over there.
Oh yeah, he was on. So he was on. Like I said, I was listening to the podcast because
and for full disclosure, I own 12 shares of Rumble, so.
Oh, do you?
I do.
Okay.
I
do.
Do.
So you must have seen your stock go up a little bit then.
I just caught it this morning because I guess...
did your stock go up? Because he said it did.
I'm up literally I have 20 shares or something like that, but it's...
He said it went up 60% or something.
It might have, because I think it was $10 and it went up to 14. So, I paid 12 or something like that. So whatever it is.
Yeah, so listen though, he had a YouTube account. He was growing it for the past 5 years. He gained it was at 738,000 followers, and within 2 weeks on Rumble, he's at 500,000 subscribers.
Yeah, because curiosity. I mean,
so yeah, I mean, it seems to be working for him. Like I said, I mean, I have to reiterate this because people take things out of context. I never get involved with the conspiracy theories or the drama or anything like that. But it was something that curiosity, exactly what you said, that I was like, all right, let me listen to what he had to say. And as soon as he was saying some of the things, you're like, oh, what the hell is I don't know. It just was interesting to me. But, for just having that curiosity, someone could even just get canceled for it. So going
back to what I had talked about earlier, right? So The company is Twilio. There's actually a Trulio, but it's Twilio. TWILIO.
Okay.
Right. And they're some sort of a marketing company in San Francisco, publicly traded. So he announces that they're laying off 11% of their workforce, and he wants everybody to know that the layoffs, they made the layoffs through an anti-racist and anti-oppression lens.
Wait, they made their layoffs through an
anti-racist and anti-oppression lens.
So what was the
I don't even I'm like boggling my mind, because it's almost, as soon as you say I'm doing something that's anti-racist, it's almost racist in its very nature, right? I mean, clearly they're like saying, yeah, we didn't fire some people because we don't want to be considered racist. I mean, I don't even know. I mean,
they probably have to say that because that's where the first thing that people automatically go to.
You can't win in that situation, right?
No,
because,
you can't.
Okay, so I mean, if I'm a black dude who gets fired, I'm going to be pissed. If I'm a white dude who gets fired, I'm going to be pissed because of that stupid statement. It's just saying we evaluated the situation and we're letting people go based on merit or performance and underperforming divisions or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Jared,
Or
that's what most of the times they would do. Why would you say that?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think
Because
you could also just say
this
hey,
is not going to make either side happy, right?
Like, hey, we're not meeting our quota. Exactly what you said. If we got to lay people off, I think that would also be
Plus, on top
accepted.
of this, I mean, there's all kinds of talk about it. It's just plain. I mean, it's basically illegal, right? I mean, you're like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I
was reading it and I was just like, why? Why? I mean, I get the woke agenda and stuff like that, but I don't understand. Like, why would you come out and say, you know, it's anti-racist, it's anti-oppression, which means immediately that it's racist. You're firing middle-class white guys versus minorities and stuff like that. That's basically what it says.
Yeah, I think the reason, if I were to guess, and if
it's San Francisco. I get it.
No, but listen, hear me out.
And there are the audience that they're dealing with.
The people that would complain if they didn't preference that
has the I love this. I want to get kicked off of YouTube
ahead,
so
man.
bad.
But I mean, this is just you gotta bear with me here, right? The people that would go against them for saying that, I guess, in any other way, are the loudest of the group. Like, they would probably.
I get it.
So if
it's cancel culture, yes, but but it's like you're laying people off. It happens. Like, it's happened millions of times before.
Right. Yeah.
Why make that statement? I mean, I guess it's a PR thing. Maybe they're doing it because they want to try and actually get into the news.
Maybe that's
and
the way.
They're doing a good job, right? Because here I am reading an article, but I'm like,
maybe that's the new way.
Why in the hell would you say that?
That's the new way of laying people off. I mean,
it's awful. I mean, it's freaking awful. I mean, merit means nothing. What you do means nothing. I mean, God.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk off air about, a personal experience. I've seen this, happen, but that's, I guess, neither here nor there, with coworkers of mine. But
that have been let go because of racial lines, or
the opposite.
Oh,
yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's hard to. Yeah, I mean,
it happens though. It happens.
It happens, and it's happening way too much now.
You just gotta, roll with the punches, man.
Here's the poor white guy bitching and complaining and live my life. I get it. Believe me, but that's
a very interesting way to put it. I feel like who knows, man.
Anyway, so that was that was the one thing I kind of was just going through, and I was like, "What the hell?" And I'm like, "What is the end game?" That's all I'm asking, right? Whether it's right or wrong, and there's something behind it, okay, maybe there is, but like, what is the merit of saying it publicly?
I think, truth be told, I mean, the last comment I could say on it, truth be told, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's maybe just to get eyeballs on them, right? Because why else? I mean, like you said, millions of times has this been done, but why even bring the attention? Why bring any point of saying besides, hey, we haven't met our quota for this, we have to let people go, you're one of them.
Yep.
That's simple as that. Besides, they want attention, so I guess that's what they got, and that's their goal. But if it's not that, then they're just crazy people. I don't know.
Agreed.
Okay. Well, yeah. That's weird. What are we at?
We're done. 54. So, I mean,
that's good.
I think we kind of got over our little hiccup and carried it through to the end.
Yeah, I mean, feel free to go back and cut that minute where we didn't talk.
I absolutely will not. This is an unedited podcast. You get exactly what the hell we say, even if it's stupid.
You have to cut some of the dry air, man.
Well, there really wasn't too much dry air. It was just kind of like, what are we going to talk about?
If you made it to the end,
pause for a second while I think about what we're going to talk about. And
blah, blah, blah. I think so. Real quick, I think the hardest part about.
Do I have to cut the build up to this?
No. So the hardest part about running, I guess, something where you have to talk about topics relevantly and not being someone that's into the relevant topics is like going out and seeking it. You almost have to like do your due diligence to go out and find that work and just kind of create the whole thing, because it wasn't until I talked to that kid where he told me about the mining thing. Like, I obviously heard about the Ethereum merge, but prior to having someone have that experience,
sure.
I mean, who cares, right? You know what I mean? But until you know someone or you kind of have like a experience where you've seen it live and you've seen the cause and effect of a change, it makes it worth talking about. So I guess that would be like, I guess, the hardest part. I mean, I guess it's a good alley-oop question to you to say, like, what would you say your hardest part about finding topics or your hardest part about researching things would be?
I think we've stated this on the podcast a long time, right? Is I don't take notes during the course of the week. So, I mean, really, the funny thing is I think I've always got something to talk about. The problem is I always show up and I am trying to go from memory, and then you have those pauses where I'm thinking in my head, like, what the, there was a couple things I wanted to talk about. Instead of writing the crap down and then just coming with like, you have a list, right? I saw that you look at your phone, and I'm like, God damn it, I just need to get, every time something pops up that I think is worthy of talking about, I just need to take a note, right? And Christ, I could just use the phone and do a voice memo.
I don't even do voice memos, bro. I just go like this. Like, this next week's challenge, Joe writing notes in his phone.
So okay, I'll take you up on that, because I think you're right. I mean,
this is all I do. I just literally just go through, or like I'll gather screenshots of like everything, and then that's kind of everything. Like, it's hard though when your week consists of your regular week, like going to work or, playing video games or whatever for the week. Like, it's kind of lackluster if you're not like constantly going out or finding something interesting, or if there's not a lot of news coverage for that week. Last week and the beginning of this week, there was a lot of that. But for the weeks that there's not a lot going on, it's like, okay, well, time to either revert to Joe to see what he talks about, or get like a personal story that you could talk about. So, I mean, this week for me personally, that's why I brought up the personal story about the weird twilight zone between the age of 22 to 24. It's because that's just something I've been thinking about a lot. But you just kind of have to pull things out of the matrix. I
know. So, but I will take you up on that challenge to start taking notes, because I've bitched about this before in a couple episodes, and I just don't do it.
Yeah,
and,
try it out. You have an iPad with a pen,
I know. I've got freaking every tool under the sun when it comes to digital everything, and I just am terrible with like to-dos and stuff like that. And I'm like, damn, I got to get my shit together.
The next thing for you to get's the that Apple cheese grater looking computer that's $34,000 or whatever.
No, I ain't having Jesus Christ, I can't even afford a freaking cup of coffee anymore. I will hopefully. I might actually have an Apple Watch by the next time we talk, maybe.
Oh yeah, get some hands-on experience.
Because I want to get the Ultras coming out, I think, on Friday, and I'm thinking about getting one.
Oh, I mean, this is another off-topic point, but I've been liking iOS, the new one. The new one's been sick.
Yeah, I haven't really messed with it too much.
For me, it's been about whenever the public beta came out, whether it was last Monday or the Monday before. It's great. Some of the key things is you could change your wallpapers. Like every time I lock my phone and unlock it, new wallpaper. The haptic keyboard, or the however you pronounce it, keyboard's back, so you type it and it's a response. The battery displays in the top right, which is nice, so you don't have to constantly scroll down. Small change, just like quality of life things. Yeah, I mean, it's nothing out of the wheelhouse. So, yeah, that's about it.
Cool.
Yeah, man. Next week we're going to be having Messi on the podcast, actually. You didn't hear that? What? Why are you laughing?
And then Ronaldo the week after.
Exactly. So stay tuned.
You tell us which one's the GOAT.
All right. Yes, I will.
Then we'll get Tom Brady while we're at it.
I think.
If anybody wants to be a guest, let us know. Even if you're not the GOAT.
Yeah, I think we have.
See, now this is what I'm talking about. You just triggered God,
so write damn notes, bro.
Oh my God. So I mean, I actually was looking at the analytics, and every time we do an interview show, regardless of who it is, right? Every time we do an interview show, the viewers spikes, and every time you and I are talking at flat, I don't want to say it flat lines, but it's a lot lower. And I'm like, God damn, man, we just need to do interviews. And
so listen,
that's the magic secret sauce.
Here's the marketing 411 behind that, because my friend's doing it now with music. He's preparing for a project for his music thing. And the way he's doing that, it's a genius marketing tactic. Every Friday, he's collaborating with a new artist to gain that artist's following. Then when he drops his project in X amount of weeks, after he's done the collabs, he has a whole new fan base following him. If we do the same thing where we're just kind of getting these, little, not little, sorry, did not mean to say that, but little, agree. People of different areas, we're just going to continue to get in that, and then hopefully people like us enough to follow us to the next week, the next week, the next week.
Yep.
Another thing, I think we're shooting ourselves in the foot. We really should develop a way to get the video, and I think the Zoom thing would be the cost-effective, best thing to do it, but we just need to have some way to get video. That way we could promote it more on social, because I keep looking into that. And I don't even think we have to go the route of buying like an expensive camera. I mean, I could buy a camera, you could buy a camera, and we could combine them and then just have like our own, because I think it would be beneficial if we both bought a camera for like the clothing aspect of stuff.
Well, I was looking at GoPro just to release their new 11, and they have like it's like $550, and you can get like a fully decked out GoPro with like the light and the microphone and everything. So I was like, I could just buy one of those and throw it up on the table. But
yeah, maybe we'll see.
Anyway, I agree.
So yeah, we'll talk. We'll figure that out behind the scenes. But maybe that's like the next element that actually pushes the viewership be onward and outward.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that.
Cool.
But, sorry for rambling for the last like 10 minutes here. Messi next week, Ronaldo the next week, and then Joe Rogan's coming on, followed by Biden. So we'll see you guys on the next one. All right.
Later.
Peace.